We're back with a new episode of Inside the Green Room. That's Danny Green. I'm Harrison Sanford on the Sirius XM Podcast Network. Also on NBC Sports Philadelphia. If you see us on your tube, you don't just see myself and Danny, you see somebody who Sixers fans were clamoring for in the peak of the Ben Simmons drama, CJ McCollum. He's been on the show before and he's back again. Thank you for joining us, CJ.
No problem. Thanks for having me on, man.
Word, man. Welcome back, man. And in the spirit of March Madness, you know, I'm sure you always go viral during this time. People show your high school pictures. People show your college days. And, of course, when you guys knocked off Duke, they had 8 guys make it to the league from that team. What do you remember about that game? And, of course, your biggest moments in NCAA tourney?
Yeah, first of all, I just really strongly dislike Duke in general. Everything.
I think that's a universal thing. Anybody that didn't go to school there anyway.
Never really liked them. But I think what I remember most is probably like the preparation up to that point. I made the tournament my freshman year. We got smacked by Kansas. I wasn't really ready physically or mentally for like that level of play. I had the year to kind of get my game better, to kind of put some weight on, to really kind of focus on preparing for that moment. And then my junior year, we played a better schedule. We ended up playing like Iowa State. We played Michigan State. We played St. John's. You know, we played a better schedule to where our group of guys was more comfortable playing against, you know, big high major type schools. So when we drew Duke, I was excited. I felt like, you know, based on how I played, that we could keep the game close, and that most games in the college tournament are about like the guards, right? And I felt like I was the best guard on the court. I felt like I was the best guard in the tournament personally, but I just told our team, like, try to keep the game close, and then I'll be able to win it for us at the end. And the guys did a great job of executing our game plan. And the biggest thing that, you know, is usually a hurdle for a smaller school is guys being nervous and, like, you know, kind of being afraid. And I think that we had got to that point where we were all juniors, had a couple of sophomores, but they weren't afraid. Like, Mackie was from Houston, like he grew up a certain type of way. My roommate had played on that big stage, and we had worked, you know, for that moment. So I think that's kind of what I remember most.
It took me each year to get further in the tournament. We didn't win. We got lucky. I wouldn't say got lucky, but we won it my senior year. I got lucky. So we'll win one. But each year we would get knocked out earlier. I think it was Elite 8 before we got Sweet 16, Georgetown, then Final Four, Kansas. They gave us a good little whooping. And, yeah, finally got a chance to make it and get it done my senior year. But, you know, the teams that we played, the team that gave us the toughest game, LSU, and they were the most, I guess, had the most experience and the most fearless. Everybody else, you know, we came in Carolina, a lot of them we had the game won just because they were a little scared of us from the jump. So we got an early start on them. Once they got settled in, it was too late. But yeah, your team, you had a really good team. You guys were rolling, man, playing well.
Yeah, CJ, we appreciate you joining us. I know we're taping this during the midday, and there's so much going on right now. Obviously, you guys are NBA players. At the same time, there's the NCAA tournament going on, so everybody kind of at least want to keep their eyes on it a little bit. And you just finished a meeting with the NBPA as the president. Can you tell us why you took the role and how it's been so far? And then I have some follow-ups for you for sure.
Yeah, I took the role because having worked for the executive committee for a few years and having been a player rep since, you know, my second year in the league, I just felt like there was a lot of things that I could accomplish, you know, for the greater good, you know, from an educational standpoint to obviously a business standpoint, and just trying to grow the game. And having been in so many meetings, you know, to kind of figure out, you know, obviously collective bargaining, obviously ways to improve our game of basketball, obviously ways to help kind of prepare our players for the transition from, you know, 19 years old to becoming a millionaire to potentially retiring in your 30s. Like, just thinking about all those things, it just felt like it was the next step in my maturation process. And I felt like Chris had done a great job, and he was kind of passing me the torch to kind of run with it and bring this game to another point. Obviously, Michelle did a terrific job. Now we have Tamika as the executive director, but I felt like it was the next step for me to be more selfless. You know, historically as basketball players, we're pretty selfish, right? We want to make a lot of money. We want to take care of our families. We have all these individual goals. And I felt like, you know, getting married, having a kid, and kind of maturing, having done a lot of stuff, I made a lot of money. I want to see more guys, you know, make money, hold on to it, have other endeavors, have other, you know, career fields that they're a part of, that they can kind of grow, you know, this basketball money and kind of segue that into retirement. So I think that was my mindset. It's been fun. It's been a lot of work, unpaid work, if I do say so myself. I don't get paid for work. Long hours. I got weekly calls with a lot of people. I speak to Adam once a week. I speak to Tamika once a week. I'm on the call with you know, a lot of different, you know, governors, just talking about ways to improve our game of basketball, talking about rules that we need to take out. Danny will tell you about the take foul, right? Like it's stopping the game. It's kind of hurting our game right now. So we've been discussing a lot of things, and it's funny because you don't realize the type of work that goes into this position until you're in it. So I got a lot of respect and appreciation for CP because he did this for a long time, and he had to take us to the bubble, which was a whole other conversation.
Yeah, you guys have done an amazing job thus far, man. Big shout out to Chris and yourself, man, for all these unpaid hours of extra work of making sure that we get things right for our league and for our players, for our younger generation, and to pass it on to them.
DG,
we applaud you.
DG, weren't you? I know you were a team rep with the Lakers.
Yeah,
are you the team rep with the Sixers?
I'm an alternate. I've been a rep since I've been a rookie because none of the guys when I was a rookie wanted to ever do it. They just make the rookie always the team rep. Like, when I was with Bron, Shaq, and they're like, just make the rook do it because we don't want to go to All-Star, go to the meetings. He can relay the messages to us. He went to college for 4 years. Why not? He'll understand it. I had no idea what the hell it was Chinese to me my first couple of years. But yeah, I learned a lot more as the years going on. I see how the hours work, and people pushing me like, "Yo, you should probably get on the board or do vice president." I'm like, "Nah, man, that's a lot. I don't know if I can handle that. There's a lot of hours and a lot of responsibility." But I'm glad we have guys like CP and CJ in the office, and handling and making those decisions for us and making sure they relay those messages so that it comes across in a clear way and what's best for us moving forward.
CJ, I know one of the major topics, at least that pertains to Philadelphia 76ers fans, is how the NBPA and how the league and in general is going to handle the situation as it pertains to mental health. Obviously, the Ben Simmons situation kind of shed a big time light on that. And there has been rumblings that some owners or governors are not happy with how it was handled from the player point of view or from Ben Simmons' point of view. Have you heard any rumblings about that? And I don't know what your stance is right now and how that was handled. I know from a player standpoint, I know Danny wished it could have been handled better, but I don't know how you can interpret it from the Players Association standpoint, from an organizational standpoint. What do you have to say about that situation as it pertains to addressing mental health?
Yeah, that was a very unique situation in itself. Obviously, the situation that occurred, between their relationship, how it changed from the playoffs to, not playing, to a lot of issues, stemming from, is it the injury? Is it mental health? All those things. And obviously Ben's still not playing now. So we know that there was a lot of stuff going on, not just mentally, but obviously physically, being hurt. But I think the good thing about all this is that we've gotten through it. Obviously it was a little rocky for all of us. Like I was on a lot of calls. I'm sure for you, Danny, playing for the Sixers, there's just a lot of awkwardness and questions that you had to answer that you probably didn't have the answers to. Mm-hmm. But we would like to prevent this from happening, going forward in the future. But I'm glad we were able to get through it. And I think the unique part about this whole situation is that it was probably something that we probably never really experienced before, right? Like where, a guy plays, then he doesn't play, and then there's this conversation of, is he going to be traded? And then the team kind of comes out and says, we're not trading him. And then there's this back and forth. But I think he handled it, by speaking to the attorneys that we have for the PA. I think that was a really good decision that him and Rich kind of obviously took. And then there was the back and forth where the PA was speaking to, the governors, and Rich is having conversations with the Sixers ownership groups. And I'm just thankful that they were able to kind of, come up with a solution, obviously potentially trading them. And I think that both teams are now happy, which is kind of the end goal. Obviously I'm pro players, right? I got to do what's best for the players, do what's best for the masses. And with that, I have to also think about like how these teams are going to feel about certain decisions and certain things that are happening, right? I have a relationship with a lot of these governors. I have to sit across the room and negotiate on the players' behalf. And I need to make sure that not only am I doing what's best for us, but I'm doing what's best for the game. Right. And the fans are obviously a big part of how we generate revenue. They're obviously a big part of, why we make the money that we do. And we're thankful and appreciative of them. So we have to figure out how to make the game the best for all parties involved. And I think the situation that occurred wasn't ideal. It wasn't perfect. There were some things that I think both sides probably could have done better. But the good news is that it's done with now. I think the Brooklyn Nets are extremely happy with where they're at. I think the Sixers and James are really happy with where they're at. And now they can kind of move forward with happy marriages after a rocky relationship.
You were in Portland for 9 years. I didn't get a chance to discuss how things were happening when the trade happened with me, Kawhi, to Toronto. And I know you answered this question a million times, but I just want to know, how involved were you? How did New Orleans come about? And, when the time came, like, I guess, what were the discussions like when you were leaving a place that you called home? You were there for 9 years, if I'm not mistaken. How was that scenario and that situation, and how tough was it to make that decision, or did they make it easy?
Yeah. It's funny. I was actually in China when you got traded. I thought I was going to San Antonio. That's another story for you for another time. But okay. I've been in trade rumors. My brother joked today, right? Baker Mayfield's in trade rumors right now, obviously the Deshaun Watson thing. I've been in trade rumors for 7 straight years, right? So like mentally, I kind of prepared. Like I kind of prepared my wife, my mom, my dad, my brother. Like we kind of prepared like a long time ago, understanding the business, how it works. Also understanding that, I'm a pretty good basketball player. I make a lot of money, but there's a lot of other players that are pretty good and make a lot of money, in which your team might want to do a swap. So like I kind of mentally prepared a long time ago for that. When Neil got fired or resigned or whatever the case may be, I knew like that was the beginning of the end. Like that was my guy. He's the one that drafted me. He's probably the reason why I was there for so long. And with new management, with new leadership comes change. And I felt like once Terry was fired and the staff was fired, that like only one of two things could happen. You trade me or you trade Dame. And I pretty much knew they weren't going to trade Dame. So like that made it pretty obvious that it was probably going to be me. So like we had like legit conversations right after Neil left. Me and Joe sat down and we were in constant communication. And like it was man to man. I basically told him, I was like, look, I understand the business. Obviously, I'm the president of the PA. I know the cap. I know the salary cap. I know what the cap's going to be next year. I know what it's projected to be 2 years from now. I know you can't pay all of us. Mm-hmm. I know that if Dame's up for a $50 million extension, you're probably going to give it to him. Anthony's going to make between 20 and 25 million. Norm's at 18 to 20 right now. Nas is up. Nurk is up. I said, you can't pay all of us. I understand that. Like, and I'm here to you coming man to man for us to have like an adult conversation in which you kind of tell me what your plans are for the future and where I'm at in those. And I can kind of tell you where me and my family are at, personally with, our relationship and what we think about our future. So we had a great dialogue back and forth, and Joe was completely professional, and I hope he gets the job there in Portland. I wish him nothing but the best. And we had a really good conversation in which, they had an idea of teams that I would like to go to. I had an idea of what he was looking for in terms of the package, and we kind of worked together to kind of orchestrate that. But this was months in the works, in which, once it kind of got closer, trade deadline obviously got closer. It was a situation in which, it was time for me to go. Like I realized that it was time for me to go. I had a great career there. I did a lot of things in the community. I was married there. I gave birth to my child there. I developed, I made a lot of money. I did a lot of stuff in the community and will continue to. I bought a vineyard. That place is near and dear to me and forever will be a part of my legacy. But it was time for change. It was time for me to experience something new, go to a new team, new organization, have a new role, be exposed to something different. And they deserve to experience something different too. Get a chance to kind of build something different around Dame. Anthony deserved to have more minutes, more spotlight, more opportunity. And Joe had to make a decision. And I respect his decision. Even if he wouldn't have told me, I would have respected his decision, but I wouldn't have respected the move that he made. Because I think, based on my relationship with the league, with players, with, how I am as a professional, I deserve to be involved in the process somewhat. So like, give me a heads up. Like I had I just had a baby. Like my baby is 2 months old. At the time, my baby was about to be born, and then he was born. You know what I mean? I had a 3-week-old baby. So like, I thought that was appropriate to just kind of keep me in the loop, because I got a plan if I'm going to move with my family. And I know a lot of players didn't get that opportunity. And I feel for them, and I feel for the way things are kind of handled at times. And I think from a professional standpoint, if you have a chance to give somebody heads up, I think you always should. Obviously things happen, but I kind of told him, I was like, look, you got to make the deal that you feel is best for the Blazers. And I completely respect that. And I got to do what's best for me. So if you're going to send me somewhere that I'm probably not going to be happy at, when they call me, I'm going to let them know that, hey, like, you know what I mean? I'll be professional and I'll do my job. But when this contract is up, I'm gone. So that would affect the type of package that they would put together. Right. So there's ways to handle that. And like, I revert this all back to the Baker situation, in which I think that he should have told them in private that he wanted to be moved, because once he made it public, it creates a media storm, and now his value goes down, right? Teams aren't going to offer as much for him if they know you went out. And I think we handled that situation perfectly. Like there was rumors about me going to Philly. There's rumors about me going to Cleveland, Indiana. New Orleans is coming to watch me for like 2 months. You know what I mean? Like you see the scouts at the courtside. So people kind of knew, but I never spoke on it because I'm a professional, right? And I handle my business. There's always been rumors about me being traded, but there's never been rumors about CJ wanting to go XYZ because I keep my circle tight. And even if I did want to go to XYZ, only my team would know and the team that's about to trade for me. And that's kind of how we did the New Orleans situation.
That's always great to see the organizations that kind of keep you in the loop and have your back, give you a heads up. I've been fortunate enough, I've been traded a couple times, and each one of those times they gave me a heads up. San Antonio, they let me know, but it wasn't like early, and because I guess they didn't know if it was going to happen that soon either, but they did let me know. And it's always good to leave when you know it's kind of time. Like I knew I had a great time there, but it was time for change. Those who get a chance to, or those who leave abruptly and don't know and feel like they have unfinished business somewhere, or they thought they were going to be a part of a situation where they can actually win a championship there. And that's why I understood why DeMar was a little upset, because he had built a lot and he thought he had some unfinished business. But it was time for me to move on from San Antonio. And in LA, they gave me a heads up. I did not know that I was going to be moved from OKC to Philly. Then when it happened, but it happened so fast, it didn't matter. I didn't really build a relationship with OKC. But it is a lot more comforting when they're in communication with you and they let you know what's happening and when it's going to happen and how it's going. And then you can communicate with the next team of how you want to do things. So I'm glad you left amicably, man. I'm glad that's still home for you and that you guys respected space still. It's always ugly when it doesn't happen, the way you want it to happen.
So CJ, you're in New Orleans now. We see what happened with Steph recently. We see Chris Paul probably won't play until the playoffs, maybe. Lakers are down. The West not like what it used to be. The East right now is where it's at. You playing in New Orleans with Brandon Ingram, Devontae Graham, JV is Danny played with JV. JV finds a way to be productive all the time.
Yeah, he's great.
You gotta be thinking you might be able to do something, especially if the number one pick in the draft ends up joining you guys, Zion Williamson. Can you update us on Mr. Zion Williamson and your optimism for what you guys could do this year and maybe in the next year or two?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, man. I always feel like we got a chance. And I know people say that all the time, but with how the game goes, right? Injuries, foul trouble, misfortune, like Danny, you've seen it. A lot of stuff has to go right for you to win. And one little thing goes wrong, your chances dissipate, right? Like the Warriors right now. If Steph doesn't come back, there's no chance. Respectfully, they're not winning a championship. They might not get out of the first round depending on the matchup. Certain people shift the team and change a team. Talked about the big fella who I have talked to a lot lately. His locker right next to mine, he's back. And we've had a lot of conversations and he's doing well. He's progressing. He's happy. Obviously, I had 3 foot fractures. So I've been able to kind of talk to him about my process, what I went through, what doctor I used. There's a lot of similarities there to where I can kind of walk him through where he's going. I've been where he's trying to go, from fracture foot, recover, fracture again, recover, fracture again. I've done it. So we've been having a lot of productive conversations to where I think the picture is looking more clear for him because he has someone right next to him who's done what you're doing, the same fracture, the same setback, the same doctor. So I'm in a really great space. I think he's in a much better space now that he's been around me, that he's been around the team, he's back. Mentally, DJ, it's when you're hurt, it's cloudy, man. You go through anxiety, you go through stress, you feel disconnected. It's hard, it's depressing. And I think you need to be around the team at some point to kind of get that charisma back, that fun back, that camaraderie. You need it. And people that don't hoop, it's hard for you to understand. It's like the office morale. When you get to kick it in the office, it's better. We get to kick it around the team. Even if you ain't playing, it's just better vibes. So we're in a great spot. You talked about the injuries or whatever, we just got to get in, man. I don't care about matchups. I'm not chasing nobody. I'm not running from nobody. I've been in the league a long time. I like my chances against whoever if we're healthy, but you got to be healthy to have a chance. Execution is what it is, half court. Coaches got to do the game plan. You got to go hoop. I always been a hooper, right? So like, I'm going to go hoop. I don't worry about that. I just want to make sure we're healthy and that we give ourselves a chance. And that's 10 or 9. We give ourselves a chance to get in the play-in game. I'm cool. I can live with that. I can sleep good at night knowing that I gave us a chance. We play against the Lakers or the Clippers or the Timberwolves. I don't care. I played against Steph, Clay, year after year. I played against KD when he was there. Like, I don't really care. I'm not running from nobody. And I think that's the mentality that I'm bringing to this team. It's like, look, I done did this. I done been in the playoffs 8 straight years. Granted, we ain't never won a championship. I got a lot of playoff games, preparation, and understanding of how to win. I don't watch the team beat us and go win a championship multiple times, and I know how they did it. So you got to be lucky, like you talked about. You got to be healthy. You got to execute, and you have to have someone who can change the game. And I think I can change a game. I think BI can change a game. And obviously, Big Fella can change a game. And JV is as polished as they come in the post. You played with him. He knows what he's doing. He's European.
Yeah.
So,
it's a pleasure, man. We appreciate you jumping on. Wish you the best of luck. We know that you're going to get in the play-in. And if you guys are healthy, I would bet my money on it that you guys are going to get in, given your mindset, your attitude, and the experience you bring to that team. But yeah, man, anytime you need us to pull up on yours, man, the pull-up pod, let us know. Appreciate the time, man.
Look, I'm gonna have you on too. There's a lot of questions that I gotta ask about y'all's situation over there.
I got you, bro. You know what I'm saying? The stuff I know, stuff I don't know, but I got you. Whenever you need me, man, I'm here. But those who are tuning in, read, rate, subscribe, review. You can find us on all your platforms where you listen to your podcast. H, is there anything else I left out?
That's it, man. Now we're gonna say bye to everybody because I got 500 questions I need to ask CJ about this about this CBA, so we can make sure everybody get paid.
I see y'all. We almost was teammates.
Hey, man, that wouldn't have been a bad deal. I would have enjoyed that.